Hey guys, my name is Cilla Travis and you're welcome to my channel. On today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to draft the basic skirt pattern. You need a pattern paper, a pen, hip curve, L square or a straight ruler, a tape, and a scissors. The body measurement you'll be needed to draft this pattern is your waist circumference, your hip circumference, the distance from your waist to your hip, then the full length of the skirt. The first thing we're going to do is to draw out a rectangle. The width of the rectangle should be your hip measurement divided by 2 plus ½ inch for ease. So on this horizontal line, I'm going to mark 21 inches, while on the center front, I'm going to mark off the length, which is 23 inches. So here is the dimension of my rectangle. So I'm going to name the right side center back, while my left side center front. Now, from this point, I'm going to mark down the distance from my waist to hip, which is 8½ Then I'm coming to this place and mark it also 8½ And then with a straight line, I'm going to connect both points together. So this horizontal line becomes my hip line. So this is my waistline, my hip line, and my hem line. With a vertical line, divide this rectangle into 2 equal parts. So this would be my front. This is my back. So now we'll be doing some calculation to know the amount of darts we'll take out of the waistline of both the front, the back, and also the side seam. This formula on display will work for a figure that the difference between the waist and the hip is not that significant. Take for example a 36 inches hip and a 26 inches waist. So after dividing the difference, 1/2 of this goes to the side seam, which you share equally between the front and the back side seam, while the other half goes to the front dart and the back dart, with the back dart taking more of it. But for a figure that the difference between the waist and the hip is that significant, this is how I will be taking my dart. So on both sides of the side seam, I'm going to take out 1 3/4 inches on both sides, which amounts to 3½ inches. Then I'll extend the center line upward by 5/8 of an inch. And then I'll connect that point to the center front waistline and to the center back waistline. So using a curve ruler, I'm going to connect from that point down to my hip line. For the dart placement, measure from this point to the side seam of the front pattern and mark the midpoint. And then do the same thing for the back piece. The length of my front dart will be 3½ inches. Point to note, the smaller your dart, the shorter the length of this line, while the bigger your dart, the longer the length of this line. On both sides of this line, mark the width of your dart. Mine should be 1/2 inch on both sides, which equal 1 inch. Then for the back, the length of my dart will be 2 inches away from my hip line, and that is about 6 inches. But you can decide to use 5 inches or 4.5 inches. It all depends on the width of your dart. Now on both sides of this line, I'm going to take out the width of the dart, which is for me 3/4 inches on both sides. That would give me 1.5 inches altogether. So I still have 1/2 inch allowance on the front waistline. So that 1/2 inch, I'll be taking it on my back piece pattern, but this time I'll be taking it at the center back line. Now that 1/2 inch I marked on the center back line, I'm going to connect it straight down to the hip line. So now I'm going to use my cuff ruler to cuff the waistline of both the front and the back pattern. So before I cut the skirt, I'm going to measure the center line of this dart and then extend the length to meet the length of both the left and the right leg of the dart. Then I'll make a curve like so on the tip of the dart. Or you could just skip this step and close your darts before cutting out your skirt. Then I'll do the same thing for the front as well. So when I did that, the difference I got for the back is just 1/4 inch. While for the front, it was 1/8 inch. So now we're done with constructing the basic skirt pattern, which is also the straight skirt pattern. So now I'm going to do an alteration by turning this straight skirt into a pencil skirt. And to do that, I'm going to come down on the hem line, and at the side seam, I'll come in with 1 to 1.5 inches. But on this case, I'm coming in with 1.5 inches because I'm working with a length that reaches to my knee. Then I'll connect this point just marked to the hip line at the side seam. Now the next thing is to add a slit to the skirt pattern to enable free movement. And to do that, come down 8 inches from your hip line and then come out from that point 1.5 inches and just slant out a line. And also extend the hem line at center back with 1.5 inches. And yes guys, we're done with constructing this basic skirt pattern. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out my pattern. So right now I have a 2-in-1 pattern. I have the pencil skirt and the straight skirt in one pattern. So when I'm ready to work with this, I'm just going to trace whichever one I'll be working with. And please guys, note that this pattern is drafted without seam and hem allowance. So feel free to add your seam and hem allowance before you work with this pattern. Very important. And now we've come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please leave a comment and like this video. And just in case you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Thank you once again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.